Well, for more on this, we have with us Arkady Moshes, Director of the Russia and Eurasia Programme at the Finnish Institute of International Affairs, joining us live from Helsinki. Welcome to the programme. Realistically then, what hope is there of any kind of lasting peace being achieved with these talks? What are the sticking points?
We're very far from even the moment when we could potentially foresee that some progress would be reached. I mean, we cannot see what kind of trade-offs, what kind of exchanges, what kind of concessions could be made by both sides. Ukraine needs security guarantees. We see that these security guarantees are not really coming. I mean, they're discussed, but it's very difficult to say what they could be. It's very difficult to say what kind of security guarantees to Ukraine Moscow could agree, and so on and so forth. But Moscow continues basically pushing forward the demands which have been there on the table or from the very beginning, from the very start of the war 4 years ago. It's the territories, it's weakening of Ukrainian military, it's no NATO presence on the Ukrainian territory, and so on and so forth. It's really difficult to say, despite everything that we hear from the White House, I mean, that there is any progress can be within reach.
How desperate, though, is President Trump, you mentioned the White House there, to achieve a win here? After all, he had famously claimed he could solve the conflict in 24 hours.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's desperate. We've learned throughout this 1 year that he has been in power that he may speak he may be upbeat, he may promise, he may hope. But then when nothing happens and there is no progress, I mean, he may turn towards another issue and start the whole game all over again, talking about something else. I mean, his diplomacy has not been successful, unfortunately. But on the other hand, this has not had any impact on the way he speaks about the things. He probably now sees more problems. But he's still fairly, his approach is often inconsistent, because one day he can say that Ukrainian position is the major obstacle. The other day he will say that the Russian position is the major obstacle. He's probably trying, and we hear about, for example, a new package of sanctions being prepared, which can be applied and imposed on Russia in case there's no progress. But yes, unfortunately, the American line, the American course is also difficult to understand. That's one of the problems in this whole business.
And where does NATO now stand in all of this, especially with Europe unsure of the Trump administration's support over Ukraine?
I think NATO, I mean, how I see what the Europeans are doing, Europeans are trying to strengthen their own diplomatic negotiating position. They're trying to see what they can do without the Americans. And I mean, honestly speaking, in the last 4 years, the change in the European approach has been quite remarkable. Let's remember that in the beginning of this war, they were basically talking, I don't know, about blankets and maybe helmets. That was it. And already within the first couple of years of the war, the approach changed completely. Europeans started not only rendering a lot of financial and economic assistance to Ukraine, but also started delivering the weapons. They agreed that the money, a lot of money that they're going to use to buy weapons in the United States, but also to pay for the weapons produced in Europe. European position is changing and it's strengthening. I'm not yet. This is not to say that NATO doesn't matter. NATO does matter, but I think the Europeans are trying to realize that even if there is no NATO around, they should be able to help Ukraine to quite an extent, actually. And this is progress, and this is the change of the position that will work for Ukraine and that will work for the Europeans.
Arkady Moshes, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Firstpost America. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Cary Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.